hey, it's Brian, your boy. Why don't we make sure you like and subscribe, and let's just get into it. And then like 20 minutes in, you're like, we haven't got into it yet. Because you mentioned MySpace, and like I'm from the MySpace generation. Like I had the MySpace back in like early college, got Facebook shortly after MySpace died, um, and like there was like this correlation. Like when I graduated college, the encouragement was like, oh, like make sure your MySpace or your Facebook is private because employers are going to look at that, and so like be careful what you put out in the internet. And I feel like that completely has changed, and like now with the TikTok generation where you just like do whatever you want. Like you
Yeah.
could figure out like people can spend this in like whatever positive impact it is. Because I guess actually one case in point, there's a CS grad who just got a job as an engineer.
Oh, hello there.
How's it going?
Marquise, right? Let me know if I'm saying that correctly. I take great pride knowing how to pronounce the names of all our diverse candidates I come across.
It's just Marcus.
But they blew up because they did a mock interview, like it was a skit on TikTok, and but he was making light and fun of it, but it went viral to the point where the
Wow.
company he worked for like brought him into the meeting, and then they were talking about it. It's like that's cool, but like just don't ever say the company name that you work for.
Yeah.
And like
Right.
there's like that balance of like if I blow up on TikTok, which is a whole nother thing too as well, because I want to get into your thoughts on not just TikTok but even your experience with YouTube.
Yeah, so I think the whole like TikTok to start, like I think the whole TikTok thing is interesting. I'm definitely not as great with like short form content. So whether it's like TikTok or like stories, the Instagram stories and stuff like that, I'm not great with that because I don't know. I don't think I'm as creative with doing fun stuff like that. My stories would probably be super boring. But I definitely love that people are able to capture that format and be creative with it. Now, I think it's interesting playing some of the different things. Like I know like meme accounts and stuff like that. I find it interesting because maybe you get 100,000 followers by blowing up as a meme account, but is that actually going to help with a job? And it's arguable because on one hand, like maybe you have this personality on Twitter that you go and talk to them and they expect to see this personality, but you're a completely different person, right? Like and whether or not that's for better or for worse, like you come in and talk to this job and they don't want you because you're kind of this fake person online, right? So it's an interesting balance and trying to figure out how you can still maintain that creative outlet but still be able to set yourself up for success. But it's been interesting, like trying to I don't like I minorly kind of look at my stats and stuff for the different projects that I do just to kind of gauge a little bit about how successful it is, but I don't do anything super intense like YouTube, for instance. Like I try to keep up and see what views are doing well and like how things are going, but I don't do any like historic digging into like the stats or anything. But it is interesting to see what resonates with people more than others, whether it's like the actual tech topic or because for a while I was trying to do things where I would do a Rick and Morty application, and the thing that I would push on that is the Rick and Morty part, thinking everybody wants to do something fun with Rick and Morty, right? But that wasn't actually the case. People were more
Yeah.
interested in the technology of it, the Next.js, and the Rick and Morty kind of. I even took that out of the title of the YouTube video, and it's
Yeah.
just the project that you happen to work on. So like that was an interesting lesson that I learned throughout that.
Yeah, I've done the same because like if anybody's ever seen me speak on stage at a conference, I tend to over-index on the story and less on the technology. So like I spent like a half a talk talking about the history of gangster rap in correlation to GraphQL and REST, and luckily that went over very well. But in the context of a YouTube video, I don't think I could do that because I think
Right.
what I found with the audience for YouTube is like they don't mind hearing the story and watching those videos, but if it's a technical topic, they want to get to the technical part and less of the sort
Mhm.
of like, hey, it's Brian, your boy. Why don't we make sure you like and subscribe, and let's just get into it. And then like 20 minutes in, you're like we haven't got into it yet.
Yeah, yeah.
So like I've learned that, and I got really, me personally, I got really deep into sort of YouTube like algorithm stuff and trying to do things to game it. I think not my first 10 videos, but probably like the next 5 to 10. I did things of like, oh, I should probably have this call to action and that and that. And at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter because for the
Mhm.
technical audience, I think what they're just trying to do is just not pay for paid content. Like they don't want to pay for an
Right.
egghead course if they can get this YouTube video for free. But in my mind or other YouTube creators are like, I want you to like and subscribe and become part of my audience. So like there's this push and pull that's happening. So now I've got to the point where it's just like whatever, I'll just give you to my 2 minute action video. If you don't like and subscribe, that's fine. But like my goal for those videos is just share a use case that's not being shared anywhere else that I'm seeing, so I can just fan the flame eventually. So I've
Yeah.
come. I had my come to Jesus moment, I guess I should say.
Yeah, that's interesting. And like the video tutorials that I do, like they end up being very concise and to the point, and I don't put like that kind of talking and stuff around it. And I didn't even really do that intentionally. It's because like I don't find myself the type of person who's good at sitting there talking to a camera about dev life and stuff, and because of that I just simply didn't include it in the videos, and some people end up liking that because it is straight to the point and they can get in, get it out. I don't think that's actually good for my YouTube analytics though. Like I'm in a programmer YouTube Discord and stuff, and they talk about like, you know, you got to have like the watch time, the average watch time has to be up, and trying to prevent people from falling off. So with that regard, because I'm concise, I don't get great watch times on that stuff. They're usually short videos, but I don't know, the usefulness seems to help in that regard, and I don't know, I'm happy with how it's working out so far.
And I mean, I've pitched Scott Hanselman. It's funny because people have reached out to me and like they say they didn't know who Scott Hanselman was until I mentioned it in a video, or mentioned him. But he's like a wealth of content. I happen to be lucky enough to learn of him early in my career, in my sort of dev career. But I bring him up because he's a person who's been doing like blogging for 25 years. He's been in .NET, C#, all the languages. Works at Microsoft supporting the C# language and also .NET as well. And his whole thing is like, this: put the content out there that you would watch, and it doesn't matter if people don't watch it today or if you don't become a sensation or a success. At least you'll enjoy the content if you go back and try to learn from it. So like put that content out there. So like if it is concise, or if it's to the point, and it's not considerate of like watch time and algorithm stuff, that's fine, because eventually it'll become useful. And if it's not useful, that's fine too. Like that's another way for you to learn from it too as well. And I think that's my focus has been like really just trying to put out useful content out there, because at the end of the day, like I'm not as interested in monetizing my YouTube account and making that a living, mainly because I have a really good job and my job pays for everything else. So like there's no need for me to, and this is my privilege speaking to as well, like there's no need for me to sort of like go down that rabbit hole and try to become a YouTube success. I'm perfectly fine. And I do like doing the dev life videos and just like talking about current events, because it's a skill set that personally I wasn't good at, and I feel like I'm getting better at. And I've been reserving, I've actually personally been reserving technical content not on my channel, because as we talked off air, I'm working on a course, and it's a course that's going to be a paid course, and it's going to be on a platform. And my whole goal is like, I might as well put it where people are already at who want that content, and I can benefit that platform, benefit having more of that technical content out there, because like I could probably just ship like a whole like 2-hour long video on GitHub Actions, but I don't have a GitHub Actions following. Like I guess I do have a following, but I don't have a YouTube following that really would be useful for that. I want to get that in front of people who don't already know about Actions.
Yeah, no, sure. And Scott's an interesting one, because I actually didn't know about Scott until Angie brought it to my attention. Nice. And he's amazing. Like I can't believe, like, I'm so bad at like knowing who all these like Twitter and programming celebrities are. I'm just bad at that, but he's doing a lot of great stuff. And speaking back to like TikTok, like I poked around through his TikTok a little bit, and I guess he's the what is it, the tech Mr. Rogers or something like that, because like he has a lot of like he has a lot of great videos on like helping people through things that like get them down, like imposter syndrome and stuff. And that, you know, that's a great way to take that medium and help people in another way, in a useful way, right?
Yeah, and I feel like the medium, interesting you bring up TikTok, because I want to also bring up this kombucha girl. I only just learned of her story. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the kombucha lady.
I know the meme, but I don't know the story.
Yeah, so basically, she live on the air, she was being recorded. Not even on the air. Someone recorded her trying kombucha for the first time. She made a face, and then it became big. And then she got pulled into like, oh, hey, can you be a guest on this thing and try this thing and see if it's good, whatever. So she became a meme, then a celebrity, an internet celebrity, and she was like I believe she was like a lawyer. I don't know. She was some sort of profession, and her employer was like, hey, we found out that you're kombucha girl, like we just want to make sure that this doesn't like blow up to be a thing that would like hurt us as a company, so like please like take it easy. And then like the thing that's continued to blow up, and they're like, hey, we gotta let you go. So she didn't get let go, but she's now like a brand ambassador for TikTok, which if you're not on TikTok, you're not really aware of this, but yeah, so she blew up. and then she got a job, and now she does marketing and brand ambassador stuff on that platform, which I think
That's
is like
amazing.
mind blowing that if I was a company, like you could leverage that I guess the asset or the sort of reach. And when you bring up like dev celebrities, I would love for my team to have like the Angie and Sarah Drasner and Kelsey Hightower all on the same team, and like we can
Hmm.
just walk into a room and everybody knows about GitHub. And like there's like that reach that everybody just wants that celebrity, but when you
Yeah.
have like the celebrity and the brand ambassadors organically on your team, sometimes we don't really not respect that, but we neglect it.
Like that's one thing I had to get over as a developer advocate, actually. Like, because at first it felt like everything was just about me, like pushing my content. And like the thing that Angie helped me realize is, part of the job is trying to build that trust with the community and like being able to help educate people. And while I'm doing that, then I can talk about Apple tools because I've
Yeah.
already built that trust and they know that I know what I'm talking about. So being able to help people understand those things is valuable, right? Where if I looked like I was a marketing, if I was just completely marketing Apple tools the entire time, like people are going to start to shy away from me and they won't enjoy that based off of like what I've already been doing, right?
No, that is true, and that's something I learned too as well in my role. Because like I've never had a huge focus on like my Twitter followers. Only recently I cared about YouTube subscribers and stuff like that. Because like they gate you into like, oh, you need 100 to like have a custom name, and you need 1,000 to be monetized. Like they have sort of the levels of you end up getting places. So like I have to focus there, but what I'm getting at is like the Twitter stuff. Like never really paid too much attention to it. And then like one day I woke up and like someone who I've known for years, like Nader Dabit, who has like almost like 100,000 followers, maybe 50. I don't know what it is. Honestly, I don't even know how many followers he has. But I remember chatting with him one day. And it's like looking at his Twitter. I was like, oh wow, you have a lot of followers. Like what happened? Because like we used to be like on the same level. And it really just comes down to, and I chatted with him. Like I don't think he came to this revelation, but he is very active in like responding to people and like getting in the community and like sort of shaking hands and like actually listening to folks.
That's awesome.
Which sounds novel the way I say it, but like it is like sometimes you could get to the point where just like I'm gonna drop a tweet that gets like a bazillion likes, but I'm not gonna interact with these people because like they're below me. And one thing I've done is I've done this on TikTok recently, but I did this on Twitter, and I would actually once a day, and I learned this from somebody else. Once a day, I would like and reply to at least one tweet. So like, jump into a tweet, be part of the conversation. So whether it's a big person or a little person, like something that intrigues me, at least once a day, respond to somebody. And I did that with TikTok, and I've got more likes on a comment on some TikTok person because it was a TikToker who they built a wall of VHS tapes, and it was like some sort of like life hack or DIY project or whatever. Shows what I know, like a Pinterest project, and a couple of them were orange. And because I'm a Nickelodeon kid, I know those were Nickelodeon tapes. So I'm like, oh wow, I basically just responded within seconds of them posting like, oh, those Nickelodeon tapes are fire. And that like has more likes than any video I put on TikTok, or that comment has more likes. But yeah, it's just being part of the community.
Yeah, and that's honestly something that I've been talking to Angie about lately too, because like I'll tweet my content, and I'll reply to people who like have take the time to reach out to me and reply to things. But I'm bad at trying to inject myself into conversations. I think partly because I overthink it too much, and I don't want to like come off as weird or like make somebody feel bad. Not that I would, but like how things without context in a single tweet can come off, right? So I tend to overthink that and end up not doing that. But that's something that I want to try to work on as well. And I like your idea of taking one a day, starting at one a day, being able to reply to something. And I think that's something.
Speaking of which, oh, what is that? That's my TikTok. Follow me on TikTok. This is my my current video of. I think y'all can hear that. But yeah, I'm just sort of doing non-technical content. But I actually, you brought this up, and I just want to show off a tweet I replied to. Dan Aberoff, of all people. So Dan, I don't know. Dan's I don't know if he's just like a thinker or whatnot, but he had a thread about Revelation, the book in the Bible, and how there's like a lot of like things to pull out of it. I know Revelation, so I replied and said, "Agreed. The suspense is." But if you don't know the joke is react suspense. Anyway, I thought that was hilarious. Completely underrated tweet. One like. Everybody go like that tweet. But me
It's
personally, I'm a witty person. Like, I love puns. I love dad jokes. I will give a witty response in person, like without even thinking. I'm just unintentionally, I guess, funny. It's years of being a dad. But what I get at is I used to always overthink that, if I comment on this, like, I'm just going to delete this reply because I'm not going to reply because they're not going to take it in the right way, or it could be offensive, or it's like, not Christian of me or whatever. But what I'm getting at is, like, there's so many replies I've deleted, and I've got to the point where I'm just like, whatever, I'm just going to put out stuff in ether. And I've had people respond to me and be like, you know what, that was like, and I would just apologize and be like, that was not my intention. And the thing I do is I try to assume good intentions for everybody.
Yeah.
So even if somebody's like, they've got like Trump flags and their banners and stuff like that, if you reply to my tweet, someone did that this morning, replied to my tweet, and in their bio, they had 2 accounts that were deactivated on Twitter. And in my mind, I'm like, oh boy. But they replied, and it was totally fine to reply. I'm just like, probably not going to follow you, but we're cool.
Right.
We can be friends. Like, I don't have a problem with you, and I'm not going to assume you're going to have a problem with me because of whatever. But I guess I try to put positivity out there.
For sure. And it's funny you bring that up about the replying and like everything, because there was definitely one time where I replied with like a joke and I thought it was hilarious, and kind of like, you're like, why aren't people liking it? And then like, not even the person who I replied to liked it. And then like for the rest of the day, I'm like, and then it clicked on me like they might have taken it the wrong way. So I'm like panicking about it, and I DM them about it, like apologizing just in case they took it the wrong way. And they did take it the wrong way. So I'm glad I reached out, and then they liked it once they realized the joke and stuff. But it's, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, and it's, like Eminem says, all you got is one shot to lose control. So,
right.
But like that one tweet, actually, so I did a TikTok earlier this week, where it's Cassidy from Netlify and other fame. She's been pretty active on TikTok all year, and she did a TikTok.
Hey, did you hear that new stat?
Which one?
Only 1 in 3 developers are good at coding.
Oh, well, I'm not one of them.
Yeah, it's not me either.
What's up?
I must have gotten the stat wrong. It's 1 in 4.
What? I thought that was hilarious. I was cracking up all week, like every time I watched this thing. So I finally tweeted it 3 days later, and then it went well. Nice. But also, I don't know Cassidy, so I didn't know if it would be taken out of context or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was received. If it wasn't, I could have just deleted the tweet, could have deleted the TikTok, and like moved on with life, and in a private manner in some island off the coast of Ireland or something, because no one likes me.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. And I find it especially interesting and hard during the pandemic, because like I was even talking to Angie about this. Like, she was trying to think about how she knows so many people, and like her network is huge, not just Twitter followers, but actually like knowing people. Yeah. And that's because like she was on the pavement, like meeting people in person at conferences, right? And like there's a different like relationship you develop with people when you meet them in person, because being able to talk to them face to face, you kind of understand what their personality is like. Are they a positive person? Are they not? And being able to judge somebody's tweet reply based off of your past experience is completely different. So like, I think about that tweet that I replied, like if I had met that person in person before that, they might understand like where my personality is coming from with the joke and may have taken it differently, right?
Yeah, no, that is true. And like having that personal experience, like half my team at GitHub, I've never met in person. Like we've literally hired half the people I work with since like the start of the pandemic or shortly before. And because we're so remote, we just don't have the opportunity to have like our normal syncs or the hangouts in the office. And I think this is sort of the intent. Like some things I also do is like sarcasm is something I try not to do in written form. Because like it's hard to read in like what tone people are writing in, and it 100% always just gets missed. So like one of the things I like to do is Jason's like, I often wonder if I use LOL too much. But yeah, the one thing I do is like I respond with GIFs. Because I feel like with GIFs or GIFs or GIFs, whatever you want to call them.
GIF.
Yeah. It's a really good way to respond, and knowing that like you can't really take all GIFs seriously. There are some I won't put in the into Twitter and into different channels, but I feel like it's a good way to sort of decompress the situation. Also, emojis.
Yeah.
Great way to decompress the situation too as well.
I use the shrug one a lot when I'm trying to say something.